ends this war, the more they're going to have when we get into the post-conflict period. The longer this war goes on, the worse. It's the same thing with NATO. NATO's burned up, tens of billions of dollars worth of equipment that they can't replace. Their defense industry isn't geared up for this. Russia, meanwhile, has its defense industry running on all cylinders. So NATO's at a total disadvantage here, and the last thing NATO needs is to get involved in, a contest of, resource accumulation, because Russia's defense industry is already in full drive, which means if you want to continue this, Russia's going to outpace you in terms of production of defense stuff. What you would really want in the West is to break this thing down and then encourage Russia to slow down its defense industry accumulations. There's a sense of normalcy. Because another thing that happens is when you start producing weapons, there's a temptation to use them. It's just the reality of it. It's like, Kevin Costner, The Field of Dreams. He didn't go out and build that baseball field just because he wanted to look at it. He built a baseball field because he wanted to play baseball. So you don't go building all these advanced weapons, spending all this money, and then go, oh, we're just going to look at them. No. You got them. Temptation is to use them. And we need to take that temptation away. We need not to give Russia an excuse to use these weapons. So again, I think Chinese diplomacy could be our salvation.
Well, do you think Russia will stop their military operation before seizing Odessa? Because if they stop before seizing Odessa, that will give NATO a chance to reconstitute later and use Odessa as a jump-off point again. And without Odessa, Ukraine loses a lot of utility for them.
Well, first of all, I think the West needs to understand that Ukraine will be of no utility to them when this is done. Whatever the diplomatic solution is, Ukraine will never be allowed to join NATO, will probably not be allowed to join the European Union for some time, and will be, be somewhat constrained in its sovereign choices, but it'll at least be alive. It'll have Odessa. And by possessing Odessa, you have an outlet to the sea for your grain, for your oil, for your industry. It allows you to survive as a modern nation state. So the sooner they can bring this conflict to an end, the more likely they'll retain Odessa. This is why this intervention by China is so important at this time, because Vladimir Putin continues to articulate the objectives of the special military operation only in terms of improving the social and economic well-being of the territories that were absorbed in September. He's made no mention of taking new territories. So that's hope. But if Ukraine says, no, we're not going to accept peace, we're going to reject Chinese diplomacy, and this war continues, now Odessa becomes a military objective that must be taken. And once Russia takes it, they're not giving it back. I think the Ukrainians should understand that. The best thing you can do right now is stop the war and hold on to what you got. Because if you continue this war, understanding that you have no air defense, your forces are getting decimated, you have no reserves, you're not going to launch a major counterattack, all that's going to happen is you're going to lose more territory, in addition to losing more men. And once you lose Odessa, you're never getting it back. Once you lose Kharkov, you're never getting it back. Dnipropetrovsk, you're never getting it back. And I hope that the Chinese are making this point, that however bad Ukraine thinks the situation is now, it is not going to get better ever. The best you can hope for is what you have. And if you continue pursuing conflict in the misguided belief that somehow you can reverse the trend and reconquer territories, you'll just end up losing more, 20% more of your country gone like that. So I'm hopeful that the Chinese are able to articulate this to Zelensky. I think the Ukrainians are also beginning to realize that the West is just tired. We're tired. We don't have the resources. We're fed up. We're fed up with a lot of things. But most important, we're just fed up with the fact that we've lost this. We're tired. And I think there's a growing recognition that we can't win it. So as we always do, when the going gets tough, we cut and run. And I think that Ukraine is looking over there saying, yeah, they're going to leave us like they did Afghanistan. They're going to leave us like they did South Vietnam. maybe we shouldn't fight to the bitter end. Maybe we should go ahead and recognize the inevitability of the outcome, try and get the best deal we can get right now. And the Chinese are in a position to